Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make this football graphic. As always, watch through the entire duration of the video and like, subscribe, comment, and tell me what you want to see next. Let's get into it. Our first step for what we're going to do is we're going to grab the greens from Adama's shirt to make a background of the gradient. So we'll make that now, like so. And now next step is going to again create a layer beneath Adama, and using our foot shadow brush, foot shadow 2, we will create these shadows beneath Adama, like so, and one a little bit behind. Now what we're going to do is make another new layer. Using our soft brush, just transforming it. Again, making a new layer, just keeping the flow at whatever. And we'll turn the opacity right down, a little bit up, and the flow down a little bit. It just gives it a little bit more of that shadow effect at the bottom that we're looking for, like so. Now what we're going to do is our next step, we'll come to filter, camera raw filter, increase the exposure, a little bit of the contrast and the clarity. And now what we'll do is we'll come to detail and increase the sharpening. And again, if you've seen my previous tutorials, you know what is next. Color lookup, and change it to 3 strip. Just turn it down slightly to around 70%. We just want those reds. We'll come back into camera raw filter on Adama, come to color mixer and turn down the oranges slightly. And we'll decrease this a little bit more. Now what we'll do is we'll very quickly fix up one of the shadows on Adama's bottom feet. And again, make a clipping mask. Turn the flow down to around 20% and start drawing the shadows onto Adama, like so. And we're going to accentuate these shadows onto the kit. And then once it's done, we can see the difference that it will make. And we'll switch it to overlay. There we go. We can see the difference that adding shadow onto it makes. Now what we're going to do is add highlights around the outside of Adama. Just like so. Dot them on. Our next step is going to make a layer again, and just because we set our original shadow brush to opacity, we'll come back in and fix the shadows on the bottom of the kit and feet, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then we'll come back in again and fix up the shadows one more time on the feet of Adama. Just like so. And like so. You can see the difference that makes. Our next step is to create 2 layers and clip them, set them to overlay, call them W and B. What we're going to do is turn our opacity down to around 30%, and we will start with the highlights on the image and on the face of Adama, and we will just go over them and really accentuate them. Like so. Really draw the original whites and highlights that are already there on the face. And we won't just forget the face, we will also do the same on the arms of Adama Traore. Now what we'll do is we'll switch to our shadows and start drawing the shadows on too. And do the same for the arms. And we can see the difference that makes to the face, like so. And we might come back in and add just a little bit more highlights on. And we'll just do the same around the kit. You can see the difference that makes already. And you can see the difference that all the adjustment layers have already made to the image. What I might do is I will group this together and just make it a little bit smaller, but move it a bit to the left. Actually, what we're going to do is come back into the layout and just delete the shadows. Move it back into the middle, but again, make it smaller. And we will redo the shadows again, just because I want to write some text at the bottom. So we'll turn our opacity back up to 100%. Make sure we've got our shadow brush selected, like so. Add in the shadows again. Again, create a new layer. And draw in the bottom shadows. Turn down the opacity really lightly and the fill down. And we can just see the difference that makes. Add some on the sides and a little bit at the back, like so. My next step is I'm going to come back to the arms of Adama and just fix them up a little bit, just because I want a little bit more color correction on the arms and stuff, just because it's exactly not really how I want it. For our next step, we're going to use the font called Dharma Gothic E. And it will be extra bold italic. Type in Triore, like so. And just copy that across until you have a solid line of the text. Make it a little bit bigger. And what we might do is we actually might make that heavy italic. And again, just keep copying that in, like so. And we'll change our VA to make it a little bit more grouped together. Convert it to a smart object. Come to filter and then come to liquefy. And slowly start to liquefy it, just so it changes around the directions and stuff of the text. Now what we'll do is we'll move it up a tiny little bit, like so. And we'll set this to overlay. Turn the opacity down pretty low to around 7%. Make a layer mask. Turn the opacity back up to 100% if you haven't already, and you'll flow down to around 14. And draw it around the corners, the top part of the image. For my next step, what I've done is I've taken textures from a previous graphic I've made, which was the Salim Al-Dosari graphic. And with that, I've just copied the textures over and the color lookup layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bottom and type in the Valencia for our font. And I'm going to get Adama Traore's name. Make his bit a little smaller. Text a little smaller again. And increase the VA pretty wide. And again, make the font smaller. So now what we'll do is we're using our rectangular marquee tool. We will select the whole frame and make sure it's middled, like so. And for our final few steps, we will get the Wolves logo. Drag it in and put it in top right corner, pretty small. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hide that. Control Shift Alt and E everything, convert it to a smart object, come to Camera Raw Filter. Increase the clarity to around 20% and the contrast, give it an exposure boost, come to Effects, increase the grain to around 10 and decrease the vignetting to around 6. So there you go. That's how you make this Wolves graphic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment what you want to see next. See ya.